It's Andy, going over some of the questions that we didn't get a chance to answer yesterday in the chat from the webinar that we did on 2016 predictions. So let me just get my questions here. Okay. Just kidding. That may be the last time I ever wear that. Okay, here are, I printed the questions out, and there's a lot of really good ones. And I guess, it's hard for us to get to all the chat questions because some of them come so rapid fire while we're in the middle of trying to do the presentation. So that's why I thought it would be good to answer some of the questions that we didn't get a chance to yesterday. So, and maybe we did get to some of these, but so then you'll just hear the answers again. So one question from Melissa K was, how did you determine your hot schools? So I think I answered this yesterday. These were based on increases in applications as reported by the colleges themselves. And likewise, the schools that were not hot are the ones that saw decreases in applications. Glenn asked, why is Virginia Tech going down? I can only speculate why schools go up and down and all that, but sometimes they go up because the team did well, in a football game, a national football game. So Alabama will certainly see an increase in their applications. That's actually called the Flutie effect, by the way. That's what put Boston College on the map nationally when Doug Flutie back in, I think it was '86, had the miracle in Miami where he threw that Hail Mary pass to Gerard Phelan. Yeah, I remember it very well because I was watching that game on TV in Chestnut Hill, in Newton. So, and then, likewise, why do they go dry? Sometimes it's because they take the foot off the gas in terms of marketing. Sometimes they offer less in merit scholarships the year before. There could be a number of reasons. They're not usually anything to do with the quality of education, interestingly. Two separate items. Is your definition of worst financial aid based on need or merit based? Because we talked about schools that were good with or bad with giving out money, and those are aggregate combined numbers, but we're talking not loans, only free money. So either scholarships, which are generally merit based, or grants, which are supposed to be exclusively need based. So that was from Peyton Seldenreich. What is the deadline for the new FSA? That was from Claudia. I don't know. The FSA, I don't know if it has a deadline. It has to do, the only deadlines I know about are the FAFSA deadlines. And those aren't actually FAFSA deadlines that you need to be worried about. You need to be worried about the school priority financial aid deadlines. Those vary by college. So the new FAFSA for class of 2017 will be available in October 2016. That's when it's available. It's not a deadline. And the FSA ID, which is the replacement for the PIN, most people think that you should get that ahead of time, and the student and the parent each need an FSA ID. And the directions are very clear. They say very specifically, students, do not let anyone else, like your parents, know your FSA ID. Without giving you legal advice, I don't think it's very practical. So there may be some legal implications of having someone else do your FSA ID, but that's beyond the scope of this, I'll tell you. Pam Moika says, it was our savings. Is savings account an asset? Yes, a savings account, whether it's in your name, parent, or child's name, counts against you as in the financial aid formulas. Martin wanted to know, having completed the FAFSA, can you briefly explain the EFC number that is returned? I understand that an EFC between 0 and approximately 4,500 would mean aid eligibility. Above that to 5,300, a slim chance. Does it penalize you once the colleges see how high your EFC is? So, Martin, we're going to do a whole additional webinar on financial aid, but briefly, the EFC, estimated family contribution, is the number that the government thinks on the FAFSA that you can afford to pay for college. Colleges use that number to determine your eligibility, but we have seen clients with EFCs as high as $40,000 or $50,000 get money. And on top of that, there's actually more merit-based money out there than need-based. So even if your EFC is $100,000, depending on where you apply to school, you can still get a 50% discount off the price of school. But when you see a FAFSA that spits out that EFC number, generally what that says is you're eligible for this and this, and it's usually not much. Frankly, most of the clients we see either are six-figure earners that qualify for only a little bit of need-based aid, or they don't qualify for any. But The point is that the FAFSA is not making the determination of what you'll get. It's just saying what you'll be eligible for under the federal rules potentially. But it's the colleges, not the FAFSA, that make the determination based on information you have provided to the colleges, including FAFSA information, income savings, so on and so forth, but also grades and scores and all sorts of other stuff. So long-winded answer, but I wanted to be complete at the risk of putting you to sleep. Paulette, if a student receives a deferral decision, what's a reasonable time to wait for a final decision? And Pearl actually answered this a little bit on the chat. The reasonable time is usually when you get deferred, you're mixed into the regular pool. So if you applied early decision, for example, in November and got deferred till regular decision, you'll probably hear February, March. And then there's another question later here. What do you do to get off that deferral list or that wait list? And I think Pearl answered that one too. What you want to do is explain to the school that you are my top choice college, and here's some new information that you don't know about. And that could be new grades, it could be new honors or awards or accolades or whatever. Anything you think to just almost mount a campaign to that school to let them know how interested you are, because that's really what they want to know. John asked, regarding pay to play, does the same hold true for summer programs at the University of Interest? So the backstory there was I was talking about how I was predicting with a lot of kids are going to be enrolled more in these quote unquote enrichment activities that are going to be offered in a sort of a sales pitch is to join so that you can look good for college. You can have something to put in your college resume. And there are a lot of programs that are really not that prestigious. You just send us a check for $5,000 and we'll enroll you in our 3-week program. And some of those are just, outside businesses, and some of them are colleges. So I think what John's getting at, or what John was asking about, is let's say you wanted to go to Harvard and you attended the Harvard, summer program on, I think there's like 50 of them on like leadership. Does that then in turn help your chances of getting into Harvard undergrad? The answer is unequivocally no. It does not help. No matter what you think, it doesn't help. Just there's in the past there was some sort of loose, I should say, I don't know what the right word is, but loose indication or slight improvement on your chances of getting in, but that was just kind of felt icky, and that was determined to be a bad practice, not a best practice. So that is no longer the case. It does not help to do a pay-to-pay program at a college in order to improve your chance of getting into that school. But by the way, no matter where you go, if you do an academic program and it's rigorous and you get great grades in it, that is going to demonstrate something that you were interested in doing something academic and challenging yourself, learning. That's probably the more important thing, learning. And you were able to succeed doing college level work. Those are important. It doesn't really matter where you do it necessarily, if it's at one school versus another. It depends on the reputation of that particular program. Okay, Steve, is saving a 529 a good idea? Thinking maybe not as it relates to financial aid. I think we need to do another workshop on financial aid. And the short answer is that the 529 is not good. It's not bad. It depends on the situation. It depends on how much money you make. It depends on your other savings. It depends on what colleges you're applying to. There's a few moving parts. So I'm not one of these guys who says it's bad. In fact, it's great for many people who are not going to qualify for need-based aid. But it does count against you as an asset. The only question is, how much does it count against you? Does it count against you as a parent, or does it count against you as a child, which is much worse? It decreases your eligibility by a lot. So that can vary from school to school. Again, that's outside the scope of this admissions and predictions presentation. Okay. We got some questions on the product that we were offering. So one question from Joanne was, what's the difference between the two products? So we were offering the Incomparable Applicant Toolkit and the Incomparable Applicant Mastermind Coaching. So really quick, the difference is the toolkit is a do-it-yourself type of study, except you get regular open office hours Q&A, much like this webcast that you watched the other day. You get the opportunity to ask your questions live. And there's a few bonuses. They're all described on the website, incomparables.com. And then in terms of the second program, the Mastermind Coaching, it includes everything in the toolkit, plus there's one-on-one instruction in terms of the essay, in terms of the my favorite thing, the career and majors exercise and consultation. There's also some accountability coaching. And also, I overlooked this yesterday, we prepare the financial aid forms for you so it's accurate, so you don't make any mistakes, and so that you get the most money you're entitled to get. So that is that's really the main difference. The financial aid forms, by the way, we charge $995 to complete those. So that's the difference between the two programs. I see here the lucky winner who correctly answered the trivia question, I guess, that we had asked. And then I also saw a lot of people saying, come on, some people answered the question before it was asked and things like that. That's actually not what happened, but depending on your connection speed, you may not have heard it, at the same time that the correct people did. So I apologize. Well, yeah, I apologize for that being the case. What Pearl and I are going to do, if and when we ever do another question like this, another trivia question, is we're gonna paste the question into chat, which seems to be not subject to the same delays as the video. That's the only thing we can think of. Okay. Lori, thanks for the great info, and thanks for guidance and help with our older daughter. So now we know who that was, and you are welcome. And thank you for the comments. Nobu asks, is the toolkit a book? Do I get in-person seminars? Do I provide you details regarding my child and get feedback? So the toolkit is based on a book called The Incomparable Applicant. I segmented it out into a training class, and I think I just mentioned this before. Yes, there are in-person seminars. Yes, we go back and forth on the details specifically, so we can give you feedback on your child, and much more so with the coaching program. But that's the case with both the toolkit and the coaching program. Patty says, I have a senior who will go to college in September 2016. Am I too late for the toolkit? Yes, I don't think it's going to pay off for you because most of the admissions related instruction has already, you don't need that anymore. So sorry about that. Lisa says, how does sports play into this process of financial aid or other admissions? I think I need to do another presentation on that, but the short answer is that playing a sport and being recruited can actually help you get into a top school that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to get into. In terms of money, negligible, unless you're Division I men's football or men's basketball athlete. Those are the only two sports with full scholarships. In other words, a football team has 85 full scholarships and a basketball team has 15. But if you're talking about baseball or lacrosse or men's or women's, any of those sports, typically what you have is a situation with 30, 35, 40 athletes and maybe 11.69 or something scholarships to be split up among the athletes. So that's at the Division I level, which is a whole different ballgame if you're talking about, pun intended, and if you're talking about Division III, if there are no athletic scholarships. But this was the case with myself. I was going to say I played basketball at Wesleyan, but I was actually on the team. There is a difference. And but when the coach and I spoke before, when I was trying to figure out where I was going to apply, he said, listen, if you want to come here, I get 5 guys a year. You'll be one of my guys that I can lobby for to get in, and that'll help you get in. But you have to go early decision. So that's what happened. That's how I ended up going to Wesleyan, because I liked the coach, really great reason. And I didn't like the coach after pretty quickly into the first year. So then there's some other questions about trying to buy the toolkit, but said not available. I think we resolved those offline. Everything seemed to be working fine with us. And that's it. So thanks a lot for watching, and thanks for participating. This webcast will be available for another few hours, and so is our offer for help with the Incomparable Applicant Toolkit and our Incomparable Applicant Mastermind Coaching Program. All right. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.